Good morning, YouTube. It's been a while since I've made a video, and I thought I'd do a shop update, shack/shop update, and an unboxing today. I have reconfigured my desk. I've put a shelf up, and I've put some test equipment up. I am learning Morse code. I'm taking a Morse code class. So I have a new key. That's my Kent key. I have my little Heathkit HW8, which is a small 3-watt QRP transmitter for Morse code only. And I have a new keyer, which is actually an old one from the 70s, built in Buffalo, which is why I got it. Because I grew up in the suburbs of Buffalo. It's a Track brand keyer. So I'm using that to learn Morse code. And then also I'll be getting my new radio, which is, I pre-ordered the ICOM IC7300, which is the first direct conversion transceiver built by one of the 3 big manufacturers, Kenwood, ICOM, and Yaesu. And that's going to eventually end up in the middle, and that will end up over there. That's my 2-meter radio hiding down there under the paper. And I'm going to hook it to that SWR meter over there. The new radio will be in the middle. Up on the top we have the Realistic 300 DX300, which I've recapped, and it works good. Unfortunately, the digital readout is shot. There's a chip that's blown in it. It's a known problem with those, and they're impossible to obtain unless you get an old one from an old radio. This is my HP 410B VTVM, which has the AC probe. This probe has a small tube in it, and the cool thing about this is these can actually measure both audio output on your meter and RF. So they're excellent for testing radios. I put one capacitor in that, a 4 microfarad capacitor, electrolytic. Everything else in that is original. There's nothing else really to replace. They were so well made. If you find one in good condition, they usually work well for many years. And I was fortunate to find one. We have my jade tree plant, which I enjoy. Picture of my mother and stepfather, who've both gone on to be with the Lord. This is the crystal radio that I built with my dad when I was a kid. And that's me and my dad with reflection, sitting at our table in Tonawanda, the suburbs of Buffalo, building it. You can see it on the table there. He's putting it together with me. That's not actually the one we built. It's the same exact model. They were made in Canada. I got it for my birthday. I was about 8 years old in that picture, and I bought one off eBay because the original one that we built is unfortunately long gone, but I wanted to have a new one, another one. My HQ129X, which is restored and working in great. My Heathkit speaker, which goes to the HQ129X. My Radio 20, which I have not restored yet. The main thing to restore on this is simply to build a battery eliminator for it. It's a battery radio set, and it runs on batteries, but I'm going to build a battery eliminator for it, and it basically only has a couple capacitors in it, and there's not much to restore. The biggest thing with this is I bought it from a seller in the Albany area, and it was used in the Albany area because the stations are penciled in here. You won't be able to see them, it's too dark, but one of the stations is WGY, which is one of the very first radio stations in the country out of Schenectady, where GE is, the original GE plant there, and they had an early station, and it's written on there. Somebody hand wrote it on there many years ago. So that will be getting going eventually. Swinging over here, I have all my parts, resistors, capacitor, bins. Couple more voltmeters. They're both Heathkit. I got a VTVM and a VM, no tubes in that black one, which is similar to the Simpson. Coming up here we have my signal generator. Actually that's my sweep generator. Function generator, sweep. It does sweep signals for aligning radios. My Tektronix 466 oscilloscope, which was from the Heathkit factory, actually used at Heathkit. It has a Heathkit ownership tag on the side. I don't know if I can pull it out to show you. Aha, there it is. Let me get my flashlight. Sorry for the little technical difficulties. I bought this from a guy who got it from a guy that worked at Heathkit. And it was used in the Heathkit factory in Benton Harbor, Michigan, I believe it was. And they used this to test their stuff that they sold. It's a Tektronix, it's not a Heathkit obviously, but they used it at the company. It says on that one circuit board room, and that's just in pencil. But very happy to have that. Here's the Heathkit oscilloscope that I made a video on that I restored. Here's my solar capacitor checker that I restored and made a video on. Down here we have a Radial 60, which is not restored yet. That is a super heterodyne, one of the very first commercial ones ever sold, and I plan on restoring that. Matching with that is that speaker, which is in very rough shape, but I got it for like 20 bucks, and they usually go for over 100. It needs new grill cloth, it needs a lot of work, but if I can get it working, I'm gonna. That speaker hiding up there behind it is the one that goes with the Radial 20. You can't see it, I'm not going to pull it down. This is a Hallicrafters R20. And these are, this is a Philco intercom system, which I eventually plan on doing. Swinging around over here, we have the Admiral Bakelite TV from 1949, which I plan on restoring. My son's been bugging me to restore this, so I told him, I'll make you a deal. I'll get it working, but you're going to help me do it. So he can, I've been trying to get him into ham radio and electronics, so that'll be a good chance to do that. And that's my little GE portable from the 1950s. And that's pretty much the shop update. We're going to open this now. I haven't made a lot of videos lately. I'm really behind and I want to start putting some up. Part of what I want to do is start restoring some of these radios I've been showing you. My current project is the Philco 610B. That's the chassis down there, and I have the case separate from it. And I am close to having that finished, and I haven't made videos on it. But once I get it, I may make a video on it. And when I get it done, I'm going to power it up with this. I'm going to have to go off camera a minute to pull that out of the box. I think I can get the rest of this on camera. Let me swing my light around. This is a heavy item. Let me move this. This is a future project. That's a little Morse code buddy. It generates Morse code for practicing. And as I said, I'm taking a Morse code class. This sucker is heavy because it's a Variac and it's got a big transformer in it. It also acts as an isolation transformer. This was made in Chicago in 1950. I actually found an advertisement in a magazine for it from the 1950s that said this was a new product in 1950. That's how I know that. This was made in Chicago by the Halladorn Company in Chicago. It's the Verimaster model N202. It's got a nice volt meter on there. It goes up to 150, and you can vary the voltage out on it. And from the I don't have any paperwork on this other than the advertisement that I found, and it said that it is also an isolation transformer. So that'll be for powering up my radio projects. The one thing I was lacking in the shop was a Variac. I had a cheap little isolation transformer, but now this is going to replace that and be not only the isolation transformer but also the Variac, so glad to have that. So that's about it here. Hoping to update some more videos soon, start uploading more. I was requested to have more information on my antenna, and I have antenna footage from when I put it up, and I'm going to post a video on my ham radio antenna in the near future. Thanks for watching. I thought I'd do a little quick additional video of showing this working. I have my AC line monitor here plugged in. This monitors your line voltage in your house and shows if you have good grounding or not. Interesting, you'll notice, because if there's LEDs above this 93, and this is the guide, if nothing is lit, you have an open ground, which is indeed true because I'm on an isolation transformer. It's a floating ground or no ground. So that's functional. I have this set on its lowest setting. 94 volts is showing digitally, and about about 93, 94 volts there. I'm guessing each tick is about 2 volts. 91, or no, actually the big tick would be 100, so it'll be 100. It might be a little off then, because that middle tick should be 95 volts, and it's reading about 96 on there and about 93 on here. I haven't really figured these out. This says units and this says tens, and they both change the voltage by varying degrees. Now see, that doesn't change the voltage. That's the one that says units I'm turning now. It went up that time, 96, and I'm only turning the units knob. 98. Now I'm getting 99 on here, and I'm slightly above 100 on here. Now which one is off between the two of these, I don't know. This was made in the 70s. This is made in 1950. Which one do you want to believe? I suppose I could plug in my VTVM to it, but I don't want to do that right now. 101, and it's reading about 105 on the dial on there. That's the max on units. 103. Now if I go by tens, I would assume that should go up by 10 volts, but I don't know, maybe a tenth. What did I go from 103 to 109? So that's like 6 volts, which is maybe the equivalent of 5. Go up to that one. 118 volts, and it is a hair below 120, so it's pretty close. 127, 128, yeah, that looks pretty good. It's above the 5 and below the 30. It's fairly accurate. 139, and on here we're at just below 140. In the highest setting, we're getting 152 on that and 150 on there. So it's off by maybe 2 volts. I mean, if I believe this one and not this one, you know, it's close enough to power up equipment, and, you know, gradually. So my lowest setting, backing off, where I would be starting with any piece of equipment, is going to be, what, 93 I think I had? 94. If I turn units off, that doesn't seem to do anything. 94. So my lowest setting's 94, my highest setting's about 150. That's off my line here at my house. And that's pretty good. I mean, I'd like it to be a little lower. I mean, a Variac with the big, you know, huge knobs, go lower than that. I know you can start them out at about 40 and 50 volts, but at least I'm starting below line voltage, and I'm also gradually able to go up, and this is also an isolation transformer. So that'll serve a purpose for which it's intended. Just thought I'd give a quick update on that. Thanks for watching. This is Tom. Have a great day.